Hello, welcome to the third part of my video diary of Ecosculpt. Behind the scenes look at building and making a large public sculpture for Ecosculpt, which is an event that's going to be held here in Cincinnati. The sculpture is going to be displayed downtown in Cincinnati. I want to apologize for the tedious and poor quality of my last video. What can I say? I was just really kind of in the dumps about the whole project, so hopefully this one will be better. Good news, I do have the support system made. Ta-da! There it is. It was nice to have something finally go a little bit more easily in this project. The only thing that caused us a little bit of confusion was the base of this umbrella. There was supposed to be a screw that tightens to hold the pipe. That screw was missing, which is pretty much the reason why I got this base for so cheap. We tried going to the hardware store and looking for screws to fit it. Couldn't find anything at all that fit in there. But fortunately my husband Lee, with a little bit of creativity, was able to come up with a solution using a loose screw and a nut. So now it holds the pipe. I probably will have to put some shims of wood or something in there just to fill up some of this empty space, but it's working pretty well. He also borrowed a pipe bender for me, and we were able to pretty quickly bend this pipe into the shape that I was looking for. So yes, that's finally looking like something. So the next thing I needed to address is the whole problem of being able to weave this cylinder up over this form and get the whole thing upright. I realized that I was no longer going to be able to weave this freeform. When I thought about how looms work, when you're weaving a blanket, you have the vertical strands attached to a frame, and then you weave the cross pieces. So I needed to come up with some sort of frame that I could attach the vertical pieces to, and then I could just cross weave. My first idea was to cut a board, a piece of mat board, and slide this down over the pipe. So my idea is to have this be the frame for the cylinder that I am weaving over the pipe. This was going to slide down over the pipe. I cut that hole too big. I'm going to have to fix that. So this will slide over the pipe, and then I will bring the vertical strands up to make the cylinder shape, and then I will weave across that. Now what I'm not sure about is whether I will need to cut lots of little holes and weave these straps through there, or whether I can simply just kind of hold the strands up to the frame, and whether that will create enough tension to kind of give me a shape. I'm not sure. I'm hoping I can do it that way, because cutting a bunch of little tiny holes in this is going to be time consuming and a project I don't really have any more time to spend. When I was talking about this idea to Lee, my husband, he was like, well, why can't you just weave the cylinder itself and then slide it over your support system and do it that way? I'm not sure, but I think that if I was weaving it all straight, and then when I put it on these bends, you would get big buckles and bulges where it bends. So I'm going to try to weave the whole thing on the frame. We'll see how that goes. I've got 2 days off this week, today and tomorrow, and I'm hoping that I can really get this new system up and working and see some real progress, because if I don't see some real progress this week, this thing is just not going to happen. I've been trying to prepare myself a little bit for the possibility that it might not happen. Hopefully that won't be the case, but you know, it could happen, and I'm hoping to not be completely crushed if that is the way this turns out. As the Mythbusters like to say, failure is always an option. I've never had a build project like this that I've completely failed on. I've had paintings where I started and they just didn't seem to be working, and I just kind of, quit and tossed them aside. But usually I can come up with some sort of solution when I'm building something, even if it's completely half-assed. I'm pretty much the queen of half-assing it. I kind of drive Lee crazy with some of the ridiculous ways I come up with ideas to do things. Because he likes to say, you know, let's do it right or not at all. I'm more of, let's just do it and try something, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but maybe it does. Usually, maybe it does seems to work. I've found that philosophy served me pretty well over the years up until now, so we'll see whether it works with this project too. Stay tuned to see what happens.